What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. I was working on my review for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Spoiler alert, I was not a fan. I realized I had so much to say about how Bucky was treated, so I decided this was best for me to separate the video. As the title of the video states, I was absolutely disappointed on how the show handles Bucky Barnes. Now, I'm not doing this video because I hate Bucky or anything. Bucky was someone of my top 5 favorite characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To set this up, the story takes place 6 months after the events of Endgame. Bucky was pardoned by the government for his crimes as the brainwashed Winter Soldier, and he's mandated to go to therapy. Alright, so far so good. The first scene we see of him is a flashback of him being the Winter Soldier, killing a bunch of people in a hotel. If we really think about the Winter Soldier as the world's greatest assassin, would he not just wait to kill his actual target, and not all the goons? Minor issue for me. I'll move on. It turns out that there was an innocent bystander that was there as well, and the Winter Soldier was forced to kill him, and Bucky wakes up. You know what? That sounds pretty interesting. A brainwashed assassin for 70 years is suffering from PTSD, and he's trying to learn how to make amends to function in society again. Thumbs up for me. We also learn that Bucky is friends with an old man named Yori Nakajima. It turns out that something happened to him. Apparently his son was killed by an unknown person in the past, which helps connect the dots. Oh boy, yeah. This is so much for Bucky to go through this season. I can't wait for this to be explored. How does he learn to forgive himself? What will he do to function in this new world as a new man? Is there any lingering doubts and fears that the Winter Soldier is still in him? How will he be able to resolve this inner conflict with telling the truth to Yori? Will this affect their friendship? Will they be able to resolve this important piece of information? How does society handle Bucky Barnes walking around in public? Are people still afraid that Bucky is still the Winter Soldier? What will he do to gain their trust? Man, I'm so excited for what this show will do for Bucky. Do any of these questions get answered? No. Not even one. It's absolutely insufferable to know how shafted Bucky was throughout the show. He is an absolute dumbass. There's poor decision making, like when Bucky just runs to the front truck and he does not expect the second truck to have any communications to call him in. He seemingly forgets any sort of training he had as an assassin. There was a moment where he mentioned that he knows when he's being followed, but he gets flanked by a flag smasher, so that was a fucking lie. He's a complete asshole to John when it's not justified. Captain America and Battlestar helps out Sam and Bucky when they're struggling with the flag smashers during the truck scene. John bails him out of jail and has him excused from his mandated therapy so that he could help Captain America take down the flag smashers. Not even a bit thankful. Or the fact that he was completely negligent to the fact that John was grieving for his best friend, Lamar, in the warehouse. There's so much to say about John Walker, maybe in a future video. Another example that falls with Bucky, but that also falls within the show in general, is the sense of talking to Zemo and freeing him. It just seems like everything that Civil War was about, like preventing the jurisdiction of these superheroes to prevent them from doing whatever the hell they wanted, is completely gone now. Again, I'll say that for a different video, but I want to focus on Bucky's point of view. He's considering to take out a man that was successful in brainwashing him, causing him to go crazy. Now yes, the words are out of his head, but you would think that Bucky would have a panic attack, or flashbacks, or maybe something along the lines of talking to Sam, pacing back and forth to keep his cool, something that keeps the idea that he is working on coping with his problems that was set up in episode 1, but that would mean the show cared about Bucky in the first place. Moving on, I'll come back to Zemo in a bit. Episode 2 has Bucky just casually bringing up the fact that he knows Isaiah Bradley from the Korean War. Apparently Isaiah was able to rip out one of Bucky's metal arms. Even if you wanted to respect Isaiah for going through a hard life, there is no reason to not bring him up in a conversation. You can explain who he is, and his super soldier serum as a point for Sam. In fact, there was no reason for the scene to happen, as they don't get anything relevant other than knowing that Isaiah now exists in the universe. But Red Devilosa, Isaiah gives the clues that Hydra is involved, so they can talk to Zemo. Surely that's a good reason for the encounter. But on the contrary, my invisible friend. Because if we go to Civil War, Bucky talks about the Winter Soldier program and how Howard Stark was able to develop a super soldier serum in 1991. Once you've established that the Flag Smashers have the super soldier serum, Bucky can connect the dots with the Flag Smashers with the Super Soldier Serum to Hydra and associate that to Zemo having the knowledge about this. So that completely gets rid of the Isaiah scene and the misplaced cop car scene, but again, that's for a different video. Also, the fact that Bucky being allowed to be in the same room as Zemo alone is absolutely fucked up in logic as well. Yes, let's put the former brainwashed assassin in the same room as the criminal that brainwashed him in the past. It's dumb, let's keep going. Once Sam, Bucky, and Zemo are in Madripoor, Zemo tells Bucky that he needs to pretend that he is the Winter Soldier again. And here's where all the red flags for his character are just getting tossed up. 1. Is every person in Madripoor completely out of touch with the real world to know that Bucky is now reformed? 2. Multiple people film Bucky fighting in a bar. Is everyone just chill about recording the Winter Soldier fighting in a bar? Nobody would send that footage to other people to make it viral? Also, the footage that has the criminal, Baron Zemo, is seemingly controlling the Winter Soldier to get him to stop fighting. That is such an important thing that happens, but I guess everyone in Madripoor is a criminal and they have a code to not record a video and send it to others.
So.
And my biggest problem is that Bucky doesn't fucking question himself. He just went all out in a bar. It was so easy for him to return to his former self, and absolutely nothing came from it. No forced separation to be in isolation, no self-reflection, nothing. And even with all that, just ignoring every possible character moment for Bucky, surely the action for Bucky is top tier, right? No. Bucky is so incompetent of a fighter that has been one of the world's greatest assassins for over 70 years. He gets his ass handed by the Flag Smashers, while yes, they are strong with Super Soldier Serum, but they're not trained in combat, and even if they had a shred of training, they'd be useless against Bucky. He also has a difficult time with the Dora Milaje, I'll come back to that, and his fight against John. Why, Sho? Why do you hate Bucky so much? Yes, John does have military training, to be considered as one of the most perfect soldiers without the serum, a significant amount more training than the Flag Smashers as well, but Bucky has been a super soldier for so much longer than John. Yet he still gets knocked out because his vibranium arm gets electrocuted.
Why are you making me do this?
Fuck you.
Also, his awareness is at a low bar as well. He loses Carly in the building, and even if it was a maze, it's his thing to notice things like this. Or the fact that after Zemo shot Carly, he should have finished the job. The blood was coming out of her guts. He should have followed the trail. Or the fact that he had a line where he knows when he's being followed, but then gets surprised by a flank attack from a Flag Smasher, which I mentioned earlier, but it still bothers me. Adding on to Bucky's assholery, we have Bucky being a dick to John as he fights the Dora Milaje. Everyone is a complete dumbass for continuing the pointless fight to allow Zemo to escape. Nobody notices it, and it was about who gets control of Zemo.
So.
Ayo opens Bucky's vibranium arm, and apparently it doesn't affect him in any way like everything else that happened to Bucky. Maybe the fact that the deactivation of the arm might mean that they didn't completely trust Bucky. If only we can explore this character. It's not like his name is on the title or anything. We'll come back to that. Episode 5 is even more of an insult. We touched on how Sam and Bucky basically bullying John by breaking his arm and stealing the shield when he was grieving for his best friend that was killed in front of them.
We can't just run up on a man, beat him up, and take it. We can't just run up on a man, beat him up, and take it.
Liar!
I was enjoying Zemo's apology to Bucky and his intentions to make amends for his crimes, but then Bucky pulls out the gun for a fake-out kill. Not only was the bullet drop in the trailer, nothing was even set up for Bucky to decide to do something that stupid. Even if we ignore the other stupid. Then there is a boat fixing montage that reminded me of the souffle subplot in Shaq Steel. Then we get the shield tossing conversation, which is absolutely broken. Bucky mentions that apparently him and Steve were not sure about what it would mean for a black man to hold the shield. I don't believe that's in line with Steve at all. He doesn't give a shit about who holds the shield and who takes up the mantle of Captain America. He made that call in Avengers Endgame, and it was pretty clear that he believed that Sam was a good man. There's some other Steve additions that don't make sense, but that's for a different video. Sam just casually brings up the nightmares that Bucky apparently still has. He tells him about the book to find a name to make that one person feel better, and the exposition just completely spills over to suggest that this might be referring to Yori. So now we're finally going back to Bucky, but it's all done in a tell not show fashion.
What a load of shit.
Episode 6. Bucky gets distracted by Carly, which allowed the Flag Smashers to escape. Another case of the assassin's senses not tingling. Also, there are people that are needed to be saved, but no, go on with the call. The dialogue of a teenage girl and a 100-year-old veteran is absolute cringe, with Carly trying to explain her position to him. She asks him if he has ever fought for anything other than himself. You mean the World War II veteran that, God, I fucking hate Carly. More of Bucky losing in multiple fights against the untrained Flag Smashers. He gets help from John. John is the best character of the show. At least in their final moments, there is a nice moment of banter that they have about John saying the Lincoln quote, "It took Bucky so long to be nice, but I'll take it." Now we're at the scene that fucking killed me. As I assumed this would happen after episode 1, and even more apparent after episode 5, and somehow the result was worse. Bucky goes to Yori's apartment and tells him about how he killed his son. Instead of having Bucky talk to Yori, explain the situation, explain how his son affected his life, maybe have Yori question himself for being friends with Bucky, or possibly go on how this might tamper their relationship moving forward. But what do we get instead? Bucky tells Yori that he killed his son. Yori asks why he did it. Bucky says he didn't have a choice, and he leaves the old man crying. He does watch Yori drink himself at the bar, being consoled by the girl that Bucky had a date with, but he also forgot about that too. Probably not so good for Yori to drink himself at that age, but Bucky leaves him alone. Fuck you, Bucky. Fuck you, show writers, for completely botching this character.
Fuck off! Get out! Fucking out!
So you don't care about Bucky's PTSD. You don't care about Bucky's fighting ability. You don't even care about changing his name on the fucking title. He doesn't even like to be called the Winter Soldier anymore. He even mentioned that in one of the episodes. We will change Falcon to Captain America, that's for a different video, but we will not change the Winter Soldier to the White Wolf. What the fuck was the point of including Bucky in the show if he's just going to be completely disrespected? I understand that he's supposed to prop up Sam to be the next Captain America, but that doesn't mesh with the story that you're trying to set up with Bucky. This falls into the issue of the horrendous pacing for the 6-episode show with so many characters to go through. It's just insulting to Sebastian Stan, who really tries. He really does. That flashback scene in Wakanda is just so well acted. The problem is that it's just the payoff with no build-up to substantiate it. Another example is the weird therapy session with Sam and the therapist. He talks about his frustration with Sam giving the shield meant that maybe Steve was wrong about him, and if he was wrong about Sam, what does that mean for Bucky? That seems interesting, but it's also ignored as well. I needed Bucky to cry with Yori, reason with him, try to make him understand the situation about how he was brainwashed and how his son's death affected his life. Try to defend himself. Also, it's not like Sebastian is afraid of crying on camera. I wish I could see that movie or show, just Bucky going through a character arc of adjusting back to society while dealing with his PTSD. But apparently, that's too boring, and that's just disappointing. I just had so much to say about Bucky Barnes in this show. If he's one of your favorites, understand that he was one of mine as well. There was a story that could have been told, but it just didn't cut it with these guys, and it's a shame. If you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, you can support my channel, Red Devilos Reviews, for more of that content. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.